Hello everyone. Very good evening to all of you. Um, I was just waiting for the session to go live and I see that it has, I hope to God. Um, Nimisha, very good evening. Clearly we've gone live now. Hi Udit, Tanvi, Shrestha, Hasika, Tanu, Siddharth, Sanchari Mahanti, acha. Archita, Anshika, very good evening to all of you. Very good evening to all of you. Himank, Goyal, hi, very good evening. Karuvi, Raina, hello. Good to see so many of you. Khushi, very good to see you. Lot of active people on the chat box, I see. Hello, good evening, Rashi. How are you doing? Tamanna, very good evening to you. Okay, um, so as you can see, Kashish, Mudit, and all of the people, all of the good people who are still joining in, very good to see all of you. As you can see from the schedule, from the item on display, today we're going to discuss a few important ideas about how to go about your legal GK. Primarily because even the GK section now looks as much like current affairs as the current affairs section itself. Primarily also because most of the legal GK in terms of legal aptitude also, if you look at CLAT 2020, एक क्वेश्चन एक पूरा पैसेज इनफैक्ट आपका आया था about कोरोना वायरस एंड द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ द लॉकडाउन on on contract law. We had an entire passage in CLAT 2020 on the styrene gas leakage that happened in Vishakhapatnam. So there are enough examples from the sample papers, from the actual question paper कि बहुत सारा important portion है legal GK में, current affairs में, जो आपके legal aptitude section में भी आ सकता है, not just in the GK section. In fact, one of my favorite examples to understand how deep the legal questions sometimes go is I don't know if some of you have seen the first sample paper that the CLAT committee came out with after the pattern change and all of that has happened. Pattern change के बाद उन्होंने जो पहला sample paper निकाला था, one of the questions in the GK section, this is not legal section, this is the GK section. GK section में उन्होंने क्वेश्चन पूछा. The passage was about Donald Trump and the impeachment proceedings, etc., that the Judicial Committee or the Senate House Subcommittee और जो भी complications वहां पर अमेरिका में चल रहा था, that what to do with the impeachment of Donald Trump. One of the questions in the GK section was which article of the Constitution of India deals with the impeachment of the President of India. A पूरा passage जो GK में था, that was about the impeachment or the removal proceedings initiated against Donald Trump, right? And one of the questions in the GK section was भारत के संविधान का कौन सा article deals with the President of India's impeachment? Of course, the correct answer is Article 61, right? For those of you who don't know, the correct answer, of course, is Article 61 of the Constitution. But it's just not a question which I would think is a GK question, right? क्योंकि general GK में ये Article 61 of the Constitution में क्या लिखा है, which article deals with the impeachment of the president, इस type के questions GK में normally तो obviously included nahi hai. What I am trying to tell you what I want all of you to understand is that when you're looking at current affairs, when you're looking at general GK, there is a substantial focus. There is a serious focus that you need to have on the legal part of that GK section as well. जब भी आप कोई भी करंट अफेयर्स देख रहे हैं उसमें बहुत सारे लीगल इश्यूज होते हैं, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट लीगल इश्यूज. जब इतना अनरिलेटेड क्वेश्चन आ सकता है कि अमेरिका में प्रेसिडेंट को हटाया जा रहा है, तो इंडिया के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया को हटाने का कौन सा प्रोविजन है? दिस इज पार्ट ऑफ द सैंपल पेपर, राइट? So which means we need to keep a track of all of the related issues as well, right? So that's something that is the kind of things that I want to deal with over the next few minutes in today's section. In the meanwhile, a few people have joined as well. Sai Charan has a question. Hi sir, from which month we need to start for CLAT? If you're talking about the CLAT 2022, तो फिर पिछले क्लैट के एग्जाम से आपका करंट अफेयर्स बेसिकली शुरू हो जाता है, राइट? हर्ष, गुड इवनिंग. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, हर्ष हैज प्रीटी मच द सेम क्वेश्चन कि किस मंथ से हमें जीके वगैरह का तैयारी शुरू करना है. वेल, इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन and more importantly a very simple answer. You basically have to start looking at previous CLAT exam, and previous CLAT exam के बाद से आपका जीके शुरू है, right? Few people have answered article 61 as well. That's very good to see. Asmita, very good evening. Jyoti, very good evening to you. Ananya, Agastya, Avni, Riya, Daksh, very good to see all of you. Always happy to have so much of enthusiastic students that are here, right? सर क्या लीगल करंट अफेयर्स को ओनली रीड करें या नोट्स भी बनाएं? अस्मिता, वेल आई मीन नोट्स बनाना एसेंशियल तो नहीं है. इट्स ऑनेस्टली इट्स अप टू यू. ऑनेस्टली इट्स अप टू यू टू फिगर आउट कि आपको किस तरह से कोई चीज याद रहती है, राइट? यूजुअली आई वुड जस्ट गो अबाउट माय बिजनेस एंड रीड अप स्टफ, एंड अगले दिन भी बाय डिफॉल्ट पुराने न्यूज से कुछ ना कुछ रिलेटेड आता है, तो वो एक दिन का न्यूज होता नहीं है. न्यूज 2 3 4 5 6 7 10 दिन तक चलता रहता है, right? So, and in my experience, I have always had the feeling that if you keep on reading enough, you'll always get a much better idea about what all you need to remember and what you don't need to remember. But it's up to you. अगर आपको नोट्स से रिवाइज करना ज्यादा आसान लगता है, then I strongly recommend that you definitely start making notes, right? It's up to you. Everybody has their own preparation process, no? Udit said that means it's only 6 months for CLAT 2020. That's correct, Udit. That is correct. That is correct. There is no, I don't think there should be too much confusion about it, right? I think 6 months is what you need to really look at, right? Okay. Okay. So few examples that I really want to talk about. See, as a law student, right, from a legal perspective, okay, generally मैं कुछ नहीं कह रहा हूं, but अगर आप law की बात कर रहे हैं, then there are certain additional details that all of you should be able to remember. I'm sure everybody is reading about not just Crimea or the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, but about the assault that happened in Mariupol, which is in Ukraine. ईस्टर्न बॉर्डर पे क्या हो रहा है, वेस्टर्न बॉर्डर पे क्या हो रहा है, साउथ ईस्टर्न बॉर्डर पे क्या हो रहा है. All of these things are stuff that you obviously have to keep at the back of your mind, right? Now, one of the legal issues is what happened in the United Nations Security Council. Now, the UN has a few principal organs, right? principal organs में से one of the principal organs of the UN is the principal judicial organ, which is the International Court of Justice or the ICJ. ICJ कहाँ पर है? ICJ is at the Hague, which is in Netherlands and so on. The ICJ is also known as the Peace Palace, right? जो 6 principal organ है, उसमें से one of the principal organs is the Hague, which is in Netherlands, right? Okay. A couple of people are saying that the voice is a bit low. Is it? I don't know. I'm just gonna do a quick mic check, huh? 1 second. Okay. And there was about a 10%, 10 to 15%, I think, increase in volume that I could manage. बाकी ऐसा है कि आप लोगों पे है. You have to just figure it out. It's fine. No, sir, it's fine. Okay. Well, I mean, few people have said it's low, but you have earphones, headphones, and it's fine. Okay. Mudit, no problem. I think I've increased my mic's volume by about 10%, and it's already at maximum now. तो अभी भी अगर कम है तो then I cannot help it. आपको थोड़ा वॉल्यूम बढ़ाना पड़ेगा, है ना? सो कोई बुक या मैगजीन बता सकते हैं करंट अफेयर्स के लिए, कोई रेगुलर ना पढ़ा हो करंट अफेयर्स तो? Well, I mean, we have the Clat Possible yearbook kind of a thing that we have here, where we summarize every single month current affairs with a little bit of attention to detail in terms of things that might be important for your examination. उस टाइप का एक पूरा बुकलेट. अगर सिर्फ क्लैट की बात कर रहे हैं, बलवान, राइट? Yeah, Balwan, I think if you're talking about only the CLAT examination, then we do have something which is dedicated specifically, in the sense that कई बार क्या होता है कि there are things which are a little more detail या little more attention to detail चाहिए होता है, depending on which examination you are giving, right? So अगर आपको MBA का एग्जाम देना होता, IIPM या CAT का एग्जाम देना होता, so that same material might not be the best solution for you, right? But when we are talking about CLAT specific, then usme CLAT specific mein the book called Anushka and Karovi have specifically pointed out, the GK Perfect is the name of the book. That's pretty helpful. Other than the CLAT possible books that we have, you can also look at the Manorama yearbook, right? Manorama yearbook is also pretty decent and quite helpful if you're looking at current affairs. उसको छोड़ के घूम फिर के फाइनली अखबार तो देखो थोड़ा पढ़ना पड़ता ही है ना? Varna, you're most welcome in our classes. I think that should be pretty helpful as well, right? So UN Security Council, anyway, 6 principal organs है, right? 6 principal organs है, उसमें से एक principal organ आपका जो ICJ है, जो principal judicial organ है. But other than the principal judicial organ, one of the other principal organs is the UN Security Council, right? Now the UN Security Council has a few permanent members, right, which is known as the P5, right? उसको हम क्या कहते हैं? P5 कहते हैं. P5 में से एक country is all of our favorite countries, Russia. Russia is definitely one of the P5 members. Now, if you try to pass any resolution about the unlawful or a use of force by Russia, which seems to be out of the UN legal purview, or something which seems like they're doing something wrong. अगर आपको लग भी रहा है कि that they are doing something wrong, तो घूम फिर के enforcement of any UN resolution, चाहे आप जनरल असेंबली में पास करिए या सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में पास करिए, enforcement के लिए resolution has to be passed in the Security Council. Now the Security Council has a permanent member situation where Russia has a veto power. Now if the Russian government passes a veto, right? Veto matlab अगर उन्होंने अकेले भी मना किया है, टोटल 15 मेंबर्स हैं, राइट, 15 मेंबर्स, आउट ऑफ 15 मेंबर्स 5 परमानेंट मेंबर्स का अफर्मेटिव या पॉजिटिव वोट होना जरूरी है. So if they pass a vote against a particular resolution, can you really overrule the veto? Now a UN veto, and this is the legal issue, right? ये इस टाइप की लॉ की चीजें आपको समझना बहुत जरूरी है. इस टाइप की लॉ की चीजें आपसे अगर पूछी जाएंगी, then you know what are the various factors that you must keep at the back of your mind. If a UN Security Council veto is exercised by one of the permanent members, there is a mechanism, there is a legal solution by which you can actually overrule a UN veto, right? Security Council veto. वो क्या तरीका है? That process is the Uniting for Peace resolution, right? It's a very, very important resolution which has been which has been used so many times in terms of threatening countries or threatening permanent members कि देखिए ऐसा आप करेंगे तो हम लोग के पास यूनाइटिंग फॉर पीस रेजोल्यूशन तो है ही. नेगोशिएशन के टेबल पर, राइट, नेगोशिएशन टेबल पर कई बार इस टाइप के रेजोल्यूशन यूज होते हैं. But actually, has this resolution been ever really exercised? Well, I mean, it has been exercised in terms of use of force against North Korea, right? North Korea, उसमें भी रशिया का ही वीटो हुआ था, एंड रशिया के वीटो को अल्टीमेटली ओवर रूल किया गया था. कहां पर ओवर रूल किया जाएगा? इन द जनरल असेंबली, right? The general assembly has the power to overrule by 2/3 majority. 2/3 अगर majority हो जाएगा, then the general assembly gets the power. They have the official legal authority to be able to overrule a United Nations veto. Now things like this, so the point is not to teach you everything, right? क्योंकि पूरी पढ़ाई वढ़ाई तो हम लोग मान लो करते रहेंगे, यूट्यूब पे भी बहुत सारी पढ़ाई होगी, यूट्यूब के बियॉन्ड हमारे क्लैट पॉसिबल के क्लासेस में, राइट, वी कीप ऑन, वी हैव 3 batches that we are currently running. Just to be clear, we have the breeze batch, which is the 1 year program, which is the year-long program. We have the bolt, which is the crash course. क्रैश कोर्स है, क्रैश में क्रैश मत सोचना, क्रैश कोर्स है. एंड देन वी हैव द ज़ेफायर, which is the, for those of you who are in 11th class, you guys can join in. Of course, all of these things in a little more detail वगैरह YouTube पे ज़्यादा टाइम हमें मिलता नहीं है, so I definitely want to point out a few details, for all of you, कि अगली बार आप लोग पढ़ाई करें तो इस टाइप के डिटेल्स ढूंढें कि भाई सिर्फ ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ रशिया ने वीटो कर दिया तो आगे कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. वीटो कर दिया तो आगे क्या क्या हो सकता है, व्हाट इज द लीगल इशू. इनफैक्ट अगर इमरजेंसी मीटिंग बुलाई जा सकती है तो इमरजेंसी मीटिंग कब बुलाई जा सकती है, क्या इस बार इमरजेंसी मीटिंग बुलाई गई थी? एक्चुअली द आंसर इज यस. इनफैक्ट दिस टाइम आल्सो, in the general assembly there was an emergency session. Meeting तो क्या, session. An emergency session was actually called for. How many times has this happened? A lot of these things in a little more detail हम अपने batches में definitely discuss कर पाते हैं. On YouTube I don't really get that much liberty, that much time, so I'm really unable to discuss too much. But all of you, at least जो लोग यहाँ पर हमारे paid classes में नहीं हैं, right, जो लोग हमारे पेड क्लासेस में नहीं है, फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू आल्सो आई डेफिनेटली वांट, एटलीस्ट यू शुड गेट एन आइडिया कि किस टाइप की पढ़ाई हम लोग को करनी है, राइट. सो यूनाइटिंग फॉर पीस रेजोल्यूशन, ये सब ऐसा है कि बहुत सीक्रेट लॉ नहीं है, बहुत सीक्रेट इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है. You can actually keep on just reading newspapers and generally about the UN and listen to UN speeches, etc. You will anyway be able to figure out that these are things that are actually happening, right? So front page में भी आता है, important newspaper कोई भी ढंग का आप पढ़िए, particularly my favorite is the Indian Express, आपको इस टाइप का इंफॉर्मेशन मिलता रहेगा. ज्यादा आलसी अगर फील कर रहे हो तो फिर you can join my my more detailed lectures here at Clat Possible. So best book for general science, Anshika, that's a very interesting question. For general sciences, do you really need a separate book? I mean, I don't think that's too essential anymore, right? सिदक ने बहुत थोड़ा डिटेल टाइप का क्वेश्चन पूछा है या कमेंट है आई डोंट नो लेट मी जस्ट रीड अबाउट इट सर यूएनएससी प्रॉब्लम वाज दैट क्रिमिया issue mainly issue between Ukraine and Russia because the veto Russia cleverly made the actions against him not legally binding also his friend China also helped okay so if only US is not given GA then UN is a failed organization okay so that's just a few comments Sidak I mean, I'm not saying that the UN Security Council resolutions are the only resolutions which are binding. UNSC resolutions are required for the enforcement of a particular order. And जैसा कि मैंने बताया आपका यूनाइटिंग फॉर पीस रेजोल्यूशन अलग से है जो जनरल असेंबली के पास पावर दिया गया है that if the General Assembly wants, if there is adequate majority, आप एक permanent member का veto overrule करना चाहते हैं, so then obviously you need a certain amount of special majority. Like if you want to amend the Constitution of India itself, then हमारे पार्लियामेंट में भी आपको एक स्पेशल मेजोरिटी टाइप का पावर डेफिनेटली चाहिए right it cannot be done by simple kind of majority so similar majority requirements particularly two-third majority requirements हमारे जनरल असेंबली में भी दिए गए हैं right similarly guys similarly there's so much of just to give you one more example from recent current affairs we had so much discussion on the hijab controversy that happened in Karnataka right वो कर्नाटका में पूरा इशू हुआ था तो अब कई लोग को लगता है कि स्पेसिफिकली हिजाब बैन हुआ था now specifically hijab was not banned of course effectively for all practical purposes yahi hua that hijab was ultimately banned in certain colleges but that was also because of the fact that we had a specific law where the government colleges etc required कि एक uniform follow करना है तो इस uniform के beyond कुछ भी अगर है then that kind of uniform is not going to be allowed right so good to see you sir I was a student in 2006 very nice Ananya very good to see you as well how are you doing Ananya very happy to see you Ria essential religious rule was established in Sabrimala temple verdict no Ria essential religious practice का जो rule है essential religious practice का जो rule है which is basically article 25 right freedom of conscience and all of that वो it's much before Sabrimala right article 25 से वो fundamental right derive होता है and article 25 से जो fundamental right derive हो रहा है it's not the first time this concept was laid down is definitely not the Sabrimala judgment उससे काफी पहले बहुत सारे judgments में हमने same rule को follow किया है right so again what are the guidelines essential religious practice कोई चीज है या नहीं है right what are the rules what are the guidelines जिसके आधार पर जिसके बेसिस पर हम डिसाइड करते हैं this whole thing that is something that again you should keep at the back of your mind because of the hijab judgment that happened again बहुत सारे डिटेल्स में हम डिस्कस कर पाते हैं in our longer sessions but you guys can obviously find it on your on generally on the internet as well तो अगर आप इंटरनेट पे ढूंढ के पता कर लेंगे तो भी आपको ईआरपी के गाइडलाइंस क्या है एसेंशियल रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिस के गाइडलाइंस क्या है वो आपको ऑनलाइन में मिल जाएंगे नहीं मिल रहा होगा तो प्लीज डू फील फ्री टू ड्रॉप मी अ मैसेज ऑन YouTube when we meet next time and if you are in our classes तो फिर तो खैर कोई कॉम्प्लिकेशन ही नहीं what's the final approach Facebook news versus newspapers ये this is the difference that you need to understand कि important actually क्या है actual अखबार पढ़ना जरूरी है right वरना सीए में कुछ लगता रहेगा कि इसको अलाउड नहीं है उसको अलाउड नहीं है ये गलत हुआ वो गलत हुआ you need to know details like 6 religions are there right you need to know 3 countries You need to know a trigger date, that is 31st December 2014. इससे पहले, before this date अगर कोई आया, so things like this, when you need actual newspaper or when you actually attend our classes, तब हम थोड़ा डिटेल में मैं ज्यादा आप लोग को बता पाऊंगा, बट न्यूज़पेपर में ये सारा इंफॉर्मेशन अवेलेबल है. See, this session or any of my sessions, right, I don't necessarily want to point out that you have to join the classes. Feel free not to join, right? आपको ज्वाइन करना एसेंशियल नहीं है, बट आप कम से कम न्यूज़पेपर फिर ध्यान से पढ़िए, राइट? ऐसा नहीं लगना चाहिए कि नहीं नहीं वो बांग्लादेश से बस मुस्लिम को अलाउड नहीं है, हिंदुओं को अलाउड है या क्रिश्चियन को अलाउड है. There are 6 religions which have been allowed, and from 3 countries, Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh, and it has to be before 31st December 2014 that people have actually come in. उसमें भी क्या चेंज हुआ है? चेंज ही नहीं हुआ कि बाय डिफॉल्ट आपको सिटीजनशिप मिलेगा. चेंज ये हुआ है दैट द एलिजिबिलिटी जो नॉर्मली 11 इयर्स का होता है, राइट, दैट एलिजिबिलिटी हैज बीन चेंज्ड. चेंज क्या हुआ है? चेंज इज द एलिजिबिलिटी व्हिच हैज बीन रिड्यूस्ड by a few years. Now it is 5 साल कम करके 6 साल का एलिजिबिलिटी, सॉरी 6 साल कम करके 5 साल का एलिजिबिलिटी कर दिया गया. तो 2019 से आप एलिजिबल हो चुके हैं, राइट? So that's the kind of thing that you have to, again, cow slaughter. So we have a very important judgment जो आपको पता होना चाहिए, that is मोहम्मद हनीफ कुरैशी, right, versus state of Bihar. Mohammad Hanif Qureshi versus state of Bihar. This is the judgment that you know Supreme Court का यही judgment है on cow slaughter. Farm bill तो चलो repeal हो गया, but क्या था? 2 बिल थे, तीसरा वाला एक amendment था to the Essential Commodities Act. Uniform Civil Code is Article 44, बहुत ही important है, बहुत सारे जजमेंट्स में आया है. क्रिप्टो बिल पे कुछ टैक्सेशन का आया है, राइट, 30% टैक्स होगा. बजट में अदर थिंग्स बहुत सारे, ये स्कीम वो स्कीम ऐसा वैसा, इस टाइप के बहुत सारी चीजें आगे पीछे होते होते पूछी जाती हैं, राइट? सो हाउ डू यू रियली गो अबाउट रीडिंग द बजट एटसेट्रा, इंपॉर्टेंट schemes that you should keep at the back of your mind, इस टाइप की चीजें, these are the kind of things that you should really remember and keep at the back of your mind. This is how you should really read the newspaper as well when you're really going through it, right? Not able to settlement case of 1954, I guess. Yes, Anshika, that sounds about right. Neha has a question. Something which exists ever since starting of religion is, yeah, but not necessarily. If a majority of people believe it, to bhi ho jayega. Today is my favorite energy. Wonderful, Ananya. Very nice to know that. Many congratulations on finishing law school. I hope you're finishing it on a very positive note and you have some fantastic opportunities lying ahead of you in terms of your career path, dreams, aspirations, and so on. Right? Archana to 5 years. Yes, Archana, that's correct. Shrestha, Hindu, Sikh, Christian, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi. Yes, that is correct. Siddharth 44, Anshika, yes, Article 44, that's correct. Sir, it is being said at the end of the year, UCC will be introduced. Well, I mean, I don't think so. बहुत सालों से ये संघर्ष तो चल ही रहा है. I really doubt we are going to be able to really introduce the Uniform Civil Code by the end of the year. So it's less than 8-9 months to go. 8 months, in fact, भी नहीं बचे हैं. So I really doubt it, but let's see if it happens. तो आपके दिसंबर वाला जो एग्जाम है उससे पहले तो definitely हो जाएगा, नहीं? Mudit and Siddharth are congratulating Ananya. Ananya, many congratulations to you. Right? Anyway, so that's just a little bit of your time that I have taken, guys. I wanted to make it a point so that all of you understand कि किस type के questions actually आ सकते हैं. किसी भी current affairs के topic में कितना detail में हम लोग को कोई चीज पढ़ने की जरूरत है, right? That's essentially what I wanted to point out. Because again, like I said, YouTube पे सिर्फ एक limited time हमारे पास रहता है. So in that time, just wanted to point out those kind of things. Beyond this, of course, all of the issues that I've pointed out, whether it is the cow slaughter issue, or the Citizenship Amendment Act, or the Hijab controversy, or the Russia-Ukraine controversy. यूनाइटेड नेशंस में क्या होता है, क्या नहीं होता है, सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल का क्या रेजोल्यूशन होता है, यूनाइटिंग फॉर पीस क्या होता है, जनरल असेंबली के क्या पावर्स है, ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स थोड़ा ज्यादा डिटेल में हम ऑनलाइन अपने क्लासेस में हो या हमारे जो ऑफलाइन की क्लासेस है उसमें डिस्कस कर पाते हैं. I will make it a point to bring as much information as I can for all of you in the YouTube sessions as well. Right, Hasika is saying thank you, sir. Great session. Thank you very much, Hasika. I hope this was helpful. I hope अगली बार आप लोग न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ेंगे तो थोड़ा समझ में आएगा कि किस टाइप का न्यूज़ हमें थोड़ा ज़्यादा ध्यान देना है, किस टाइप का नहीं देना है. If you have any confusions, of course, please do feel free to reach out to me, or to any of the wonderful people here at Clat Possible. We are all here to help you out. Thank you very, very much, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Have a lovely evening, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye. थोड़ा और अगर हेल्प करना हो गाइस तो ये सेशन को आप लोग थोड़ा शेयर भी कर दीजिए. आप लोग के लिए भी ज्यादा मेहनत की बात नहीं है, बस शेयर का बटन दबाना है और इस तरह से कुछ लगेगा कि चलो पढ़ा लिखा आदमी कुछ कह रहा था तो हमने भी शेयर किया. राइट. सो दैट विल आल्सो बी वेरी हेल्पफुल एंड वेरी नाइस फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस. हम लोग को भी थोड़ा ज्यादा मोटिवेशन रहेगा कि थोड़ी और मेहनत करें, थोड़ा और टॉपिक्स निकाल के लाएं ताकि आप लोग सबके लिए हेल्पफुल हो. Thank you very much once again. Have a lovely evening, guys. Good night. Bye bye. See you guys soon.